Hi guys, and welcome back to Code&Gamology. Today we're going to learn all about functions. Without further ado, let's get started. Have you ever wondered what you could do to shorten some code? For example, in Scratch, if you wanted to make a cat do something over and over again, you could do this, which is this really long pile of code that takes up a lot of space, and pretend you change this one to 11. And you want to change it back to 10. How could you ever find it in all of that? And of course, you could use a forever loop if it's repeating. You could take a forever loop and just do this. But then if you have a lot of different forever loops though, it gets really messy. That's why there's an easier way to do this, something called functions. To get started, let's define a function. In Scratch, all you have to do is click on My Blocks section of the library and click Make a Block. Now when you want to type in the block name, I'm just going to call it function1. And you can add an input. I'm going to do that. I'm going to teach you how to do that later. Now you have to define it. Let's say I want my cat to move 10 steps. And then turn this direction, turn more, and then just turn back halfway. And what would happen is that if we had the cat go to the middle of the thing before performing these actions, what the cat would do is the cat will move forward and rotate every time. Now, what if it would move forward and rotate every time in different direction. But if we wanted to repeat this without a forever loop, we would have to use events, more. Well, what is a function? How can we use it? Well, a function stores some of the data, and for example, if we wanted to access it in our code, we take this one block, and this one block contains all of these 5 blocks. Really useful. Now if you click, for example, the start button, the cat would do this, but instead of just using all these blocks of code, I'm doing one. Now see if I'm doing this. This is already considered pretty long. What if I had to do this 50 more times? Well, I could just use the function1 button 50 times, rather than using this 50 times, which would kind of like destroy your code. Now, let's get started on something a bit more complicated, giving function inputs. And basically what we're going to do is we're still going to use function1, and then we're going to add an input. Now you can add an input that's a number or a text or a boolean. And what I'm going to do is add an input that is a number or a text. And we can give it a name, number 1, which means integer 1. And now basically, this define has this extra block in here. Now what we can do is, when we're calling the function, when start, we can put something inside of here. And for example, we wanted this to do function something differently. For example, if I wanted to move a different number of steps, I could put function1, and I could change this everything in 1. This will move in 1 steps. And for example, if I give it 1 this time, it'll move forward by 1 step. If I give it 99, it'll move forward by 99 steps. If I give it negative 1000, it'll go back by negative 1000 steps. And if I say I want to move more, positive 1000, then it goes back to its normal spot. Now it's at the edge of the board right now, and you can't really see it, but I'm gonna have it go back to 0. Now, this function is extraordinarily useful. What if we were to use a boolean? To use a boolean, what we're gonna do is we're gonna delete this function again, and we're gonna create another. It's still called function1. You can call it anything you want though. And we're gonna add an input, boolean. I'm gonna call it boolean1. And we're gonna start. Now, what happens is right now, boolean1 is a boolean shaped. And basically what we can do is we can give it a value. Let's say if the cat is touching a specific color, And what we're going to do this is we're going to add blue sky. Now, if we wanted to test if the cat is touching a specific color, let's say, for example, we want function 1 to act differently depending on what color it is. Let's say we want function 1, if this is true, we want function 1 to say, I'm in the sky. So if boolean 1 is true, then we're going to say I'm touching the sky. If boolean 1 is true, we're going to say I'm touching the sky. And if, for example, boolean 1 is false, we're going to say I'm not touching the sky. And that way, we can, when we move it around to different places, this function will say different things. That's how a function works. Now, if you wanted to know what the last one of function works, let's go back and create another block, function 1, and we're going to add a label. Now what the label is, the label text just lets you write some additional things, like for example, function does this and that. And you can create the function, and it just says function 1, function does this and that. And it's just extra words on the function. Of course, you could do this all in the name, but okay, that's about it for functions. Please like, share, and subscribe to Code&Gamology.